God is about to lead you into a new season of life. I need you to hear this with your heart, not just your ears. Life moves in seasons, just as the earth revolves through spring, summer, fall, and winter. Every season has its purpose, its trials, and its rewards. Some of you have been stuck in a season that feels like winter cold, barren, and lifeless. You've prayed, you've waited, and you've wondered, God, when will this end? I want to tell you that God has not forgotten you. He's been working, even in the silence, even in the struggle. Your new season is coming, and it will be a season of restoration, breakthrough, and purpose. But let me remind you, before a season shifts, there is always preparation. You cannot reap in a new season if you're holding on to the baggage of the old. Too many of us want the blessings of a new season, but we refuse to let go of the hurt, the habits, and the people that don't belong in what's ahead. God says, I am doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? For you to step into what He has for you, you must let go of what no longer serves His purpose for your life. It might be painful, but pruning is necessary for growth. Trust Him, for every tear you've cried in this season has watered the soil for your harvest. Some of you feel unqualified for the new season God is preparing. You look at your past, your failures, and your shortcomings, and you think, why would God choose me? But let me remind you, God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the call. Your story, your pain, and even your mistakes are being redeemed. God is using everything, and I mean everything, to position you for what's next. What you thought was rejection was His redirection. What you thought was loss was His preparation. You are not forgotten, you are chosen. You are not abandoned, you are being prepared. As this new season approaches, there will be challenges. Don't expect the enemy to sit back while you walk into your destiny. He will try to distract you, discourage you, and make you doubt the very voice of God. But this is where your faith must rise. This is where you declare, if God is for me, who can be against me? This is where you walk with confidence, knowing that the God who brought you through your last season is the same God who will carry you into your next. God is faithful. His timing is perfect. And when He opens the door, no man can shut it. So prepare yourself, align your heart with His will. Trust Him in the waiting, and when He says, move, step into your new season with boldness. The best is yet to come. Life is not stagnant, it moves in cycles and seasons, just like the earth transitions through spring, summer, fall, and winter. Each season carries its own rhythm, its own challenges, and its own opportunities. Some seasons are vibrant and full of growth, like spring when everything blossoms, and others feel like winter, cold and desolate, where nothing seems to move forward. But just as the seasons in nature are ordained by God, so are the seasons of your life. Nothing happens by accident. Every moment, every trial, and every triumph is a piece of a grander puzzle that God is orchestrating for your purpose. Think about the trees during winter. They appear lifeless, their branches bare, their beauty hidden. But underneath the surface, beneath the frozen ground, life is still at work. Roots grow deeper, drawing in nutrients to prepare for the burst of life that will come in spring. In the same way, you might be in a season where it feels like nothing is happening, where all you can see is barrenness, yet God is doing something beneath the surface. He is strengthening your roots, deepening your faith, and building your character so that when your season of growth arrives, you will not only flourish but stand firm. You must understand that no season is permanent. Just as winter turns to spring and night turns to day, your current circumstances will not last forever, but each season has its purpose. Winter prepares the soil, spring brings new life, summer allows growth, and fall brings a harvest. If you try to skip a season or rush through it, you miss what God is trying to teach you, what He's trying to develop in you. The key is to trust His timing, knowing that He has designed each season with your growth in mind. Seasons are not obstacles, they are opportunities for transformation, preparation, and the fulfillment of His promise in your life. Even when everything around you feels silent, God is working. You may not see the evidence, you may not hear His voice, and you may not feel His presence, but I assure you, He is not absent. Silence is not the same as inactivity. God's greatest works often happen in the hidden places where the human eye cannot see and the human mind cannot comprehend. When a seed is planted in the soil, it disappears from view, it is buried, and to the outside world, it looks like nothing is happening. But deep within the ground, where no one can see, the seed is germinating, roots are forming, and new life is beginning. God works the same way in our lives. You may be in a season where it feels like God has gone quiet. You've prayed, cried out, and waited. But the answers you long for haven't come. That silence can feel heavy. It can make you question His promises. But silence does not mean God has forgotten you. It means he is preparing something greater than you can imagine. He is aligning people, places, and circumstances to fulfill his plan for your life. The silence is not a punishment, it is part of the process. It is where trust is built, where faith is tested, and where character is refined. Consider this: when a teacher is silent, it's often because a test is being given. During the test, the teacher doesn't speak, not because they've abandoned the students, but because they trust the students to use what they've learned. Similarly, when God is silent, it is not because he has left you. He is trusting you to hold on to what he has already spoken, to stand firm in his promises, and to walk by faith, not by sight. It is in these moments of silence that your roots grow deeper, your spirit becomes stronger, and your relationship with him becomes more intimate. God's silence is not his absence. It is a signal that something is being prepared for you. The silence is the prelude to his greatest work in your life. Trust him in this silence, for it is in the stillness that he is crafting a breakthrough that will exceed your expectations. Keep walking, keep believing, and know that even when you can't see it, God is still moving on your behalf. Before God leads you into a new season, he always calls for preparation. You cannot step into the next chapter of your life carrying the weight of the old. God is not only a God of transformation, but also a God of order, and he understands that what lies ahead requires you to be ready. Preparation is not about convenience, it's about alignment. It's about shedding what no longer fits where you are going. Just as a runner cannot compete in a race wearing heavy, restrictive clothing, you cannot enter a new season with the burdens and baggage of the past. There are things God is asking you to release: relationships that have run their course, habits that have kept you stagnant, and mindsets that have limited your vision. Letting go is never easy. We often cling to what is familiar, even when it's painful, because change feels uncertain. But you must trust that God is asking you to release these things not to punish you, but to free you. He wants to lighten your load so that you can walk boldly and without hindrance into the destiny he has prepared for you. Imagine trying to pour fresh water into a cup that is already full of old, stale liquid. Until that cup is emptied, it cannot receive anything new. Your life is the same. To step into the new season God has for you, you must empty yourself of everything that no longer serves his purpose. This might mean forgiving someone who has wronged you, even if they've never apologized. It might mean walking away from a relationship or environment that no longer aligns with his plan for your life. It might mean confronting fears or insecurities that have held you back for far too long. God's preparation process is not always comfortable, but it is always necessary. He prunes what is unfruitful so that you can bear greater fruit in the next season. He refines you not to break you, but to strengthen you. Preparation is the bridge between where you are and where you're meant to be. So don't resist it, embrace it. Trust that the God who is calling you to prepare is also the God who will sustain you as you do. Whatever he is asking you to let go of, know that it is because he has something far greater in store. Pruning is an essential part of the process before stepping into the fullness of a new season. It is not always pleasant, but it is always purposeful. God, in his infinite wisdom, removes what is unnecessary, what is holding you back, or what has outlived its season in your life. This process can feel painful because it often involves letting go of things, people, or habits we've grown attached to. But just like a gardener carefully trims a plant to encourage healthier, fuller growth, God prunes you to prepare you for what's ahead. In the natural world, pruning looks like cutting away dead branches or even healthy ones that are not producing the best fruit. The gardener knows that without this process, the plant cannot thrive. It's the same in your spiritual life. God sees the areas where you're holding on to things that are draining you rather than empowering you. He sees the relationships that are limiting your growth, the mindsets that are keeping you stuck, and the distractions that are pulling you away from your purpose. And because he loves you, he begins to remove these things not to hurt you, but to make room for better. Pruning feels like loss, but it's really preparation. When God removes something from your life, it's because he knows it's not conducive to where he's taking you. The people who walked away, the opportunities that didn't work out, and the doors that closed were not random. They were part of his divine pruning process. He knows what you need and what you don't need for the next season. Trust his hand, even when it feels like he's taking something away, because he's actually positioning you to receive more. In the moment, pruning can feel like rejection or failure. You might wonder why something you valued is being taken from you. But remember, this God is a good gardener. He never prunes without purpose. He sees the bigger picture, the harvest that you cannot yet see. And when he prunes, it's not just about removing, it's about redirecting energy, focus, and resources toward what will bring the greatest fruit in your life. You may not understand it now, but in time you'll look back and see that every cut was necessary for your growth. So don't resist the pruning. Instead, surrender to it. Trust that the same God who allows the cutting is the same God who is preparing you to bloom. Your branches may feel bare right now, but know that God is preparing you for a season of abundance. The pruning is not the end, it's the beginning of a new chapter filled with greater purpose and greater fruit. Let him do his work, and you will step into the next season stronger, wiser, and more prepared than ever before. God is a redeemer, and nothing in your life is wasted, not your pain, not your mistakes, and not your struggles. Every tear you've cried, every hardship you've faced, and every failure you've endured has a purpose in his plan. In the hands of God, even what seems broken can be made whole, and what seems lost can be restored. He is the God who turns ashes into beauty, mourning into joy, and weakness into strength. When you surrender your life to him, he takes the pieces of your past and uses them to build something greater than you could imagine. Think about the story of Joseph. He was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. From the outside, his life looked like a series of tragedies. But God was working through every moment, redeeming what seemed hopeless and using it to position Joseph for greatness. When the time came, Joseph stepped into his destiny as a leader who would save many lives. What his brothers meant for harm, God used for good. That same redeeming power is at work in your life. Your past mistakes do not disqualify you from God's purpose. In fact, they often prepare you for it. The lessons you've learned through failure, the wisdom you've gained through struggle, and the compassion you've developed through pain are all tools God will use in the next season of your life. He doesn't just overlook your past, he redeems it, transforming what was meant to harm you into something that will elevate you. What you see as a setback, God sees as a setup for something greater. God's redemption means that even your worst moments have value. The broken relationships, the missed opportunities, the times you fell short, God weaves them all into the tapestry of your purpose. Like a potter shaping clay, he takes the cracks and imperfections and molds them into something beautiful. Your story, with all its ups and downs, becomes a testimony of his grace and power. Do not despise your journey, no matter how difficult it has been. Trust that God is using every part of it to prepare you for your new season. The pain you've endured will become the platform for your purpose. The challenges you face will become the wisdom you share with others. The losses you've experienced will make you stronger and more resilient. In God's hands, nothing is wasted. He is the ultimate redeemer, turning even your darkest moments into stepping stones for your destiny. Faith is the key to stepping into a new season of life. It is not enough to simply recognize that God is working. You must also believe in his plan and move in alignment with it. Faith is more than a feeling, it is an action, a decision to trust God even when the path ahead is unclear. It is the bridge between where you are now and where God is taking you. Without faith, you will hesitate, doubt, and miss the opportunities he places before you. But with faith, you can walk boldly into the unknown, confident that he is guiding your every step. Faith requires stepping out of your comfort zone. It means trusting God when he calls you to leave behind what is familiar and step into something new. Just as Abraham was called to leave his homeland and go to a place he had never seen, you too may be called to take a leap of faith. That leap may look like starting a new career, ending a toxic relationship, pursuing a dream that feels impossible, or simply trusting that God will provide when you cannot see how. Faith is not about having all the answers, it is about trusting the one who does. Walking by faith means choosing to believe in God's promises, even when your circumstances seem to contradict them. It means looking beyond what you can see and trusting in what God has said. The enemy will try to use doubt, fear, and uncertainty to paralyze you, to make you question whether you're capable or whether God is faithful. But faith silences those doubts. It reminds you that God's word is true, that his promises never fail, and that he is with you every step of the way. Faith also requires action. You cannot claim to have faith if you're unwilling to move. When God instructed the Israelites to cross the Jordan River, the waters didn't part until the priest stepped into the river. Their faith was demonstrated through their action, and God responded by making a way where there was none. In the same way, God is waiting for you to take the first step. He has already prepared the path, but it requires your faith to activate it. Whatever he is calling you to do, take that step, no matter how small it may seem. Faith without action is dead, but faith in action unlocks miracles. Faith is not about the absence of fear. It's about moving forward in spite of it. It's about saying, God, I don't understand everything, but I trust you. It's about believing that he has already gone before you, preparing the way, and that his plans for you are good. Faith shifts your focus from your limitations to his power, from your doubts to his promises, and from your fear to his faithfulness. It is the foundation upon which your new season will be built. Trust in him, act in faith, and watch as he does what only he can do. God's timing is perfect, and stepping into a new season requires patience and trust in his divine schedule. Often we grow impatient, wanting to rush into the next phase of life because waiting feels uncomfortable. But God is never early and he is never late. He operates on a timeline that transcends our understanding, and his timing is always aligned with what is best for us. Trusting his timing means surrendering your own agenda, your own sense of urgency, and aligning yourself with his perfect plan. Think of a seed planted in the ground. It does not sprout immediately. There is a period of waiting, a time when the growth is happening beneath the surface, unseen and unnoticed. That seed requires the right amount of water, sunlight, and time to develop into a flourishing plant. If you rush the process, if you dig it up too soon, you destroy the potential for what it could become. Your life is the same. God is working in the unseen, preparing you, preparing the circumstances, and orchestrating everything for the right moment when your new season will begin. Waiting on God's timing is not passive. It is an active process of trust and obedience. It means continuing to prepare, continuing to serve, and continuing to walk in faith even when you don't see immediate results. It's about staying diligent in what he has called you to do right now, trusting that the season you're in is building you for what's ahead. Many people miss their blessings because they become impatient and try to force things to happen before their time. But when you trust God's timing, you can rest in the assurance that he is in control and he knows exactly when to move. There will be moments when you feel like nothing is happening, like the promises God has spoken over your life are delayed or forgotten. But delay is not denial. What may feel like a pause is often God's way of protecting you or ensuring that everything is in place for your new season. He sees what you cannot see. Perhaps he is aligning resources, opening the right doors, or ensuring that your heart is fully prepared to handle what he's about to entrust to you. His timing ensures that when the opportunity comes, you are not only ready to receive it, but also to sustain and multiply it. Patience is a test of trust. It's a declaration that you believe God's plans are better than your own. The enemy will try to tempt you with shortcuts, making you think you can achieve what God has promised on your own terms. But shortcuts lead to dead ends. God's timing ensures that his blessing comes without sorrow, that his plans are fulfilled in a way that glorifies him and benefits you. Trusting his timing is a form of worship. It's saying, Lord, I know you are sovereign, and I will wait for your perfect will. Remember, every moment of waiting has a purpose. While you wait, God is strengthening your character, deepening your faith, and positioning you for something greater than you can imagine. Trust his timing, and when the season shifts, you will step into it with the confidence that it was worth the wait. God is never late, and when he moves, it will be at exactly the right time for you to flourish in the new season he has prepared. When God leads you into a new season, it's important to recognize that this season often involves change. Change is an essential part of the growth process, and though it may be uncomfortable at first, it is always for your benefit. Change means that God is stretching you, preparing you, and positioning you to receive more than what you have now. Often we resist change because it forces us out of our comfort zone, but comfort is a barrier to growth. Without change, you remain stagnant, stuck in the same patterns, and unable to step into the fullness of what God has prepared for you. Consider the process of a caterpillar transforming into a butterfly. It goes through a complete metamorphosis, shedding its old form and emerging in a completely new state. This change is not just an external transformation, but an internal one. The caterpillar is not simply becoming something different on the outside, it is becoming something capable of flight, of greater purpose, of soaring to new heights. Similarly, God's changes in your life are not just superficial, they are intended to shape you into a person who is capable of fulfilling your higher calling. The new season God has for you often requires you to let go of the old in order to embrace the new. This could mean releasing old mindsets, outdated habits, or relationships that no longer serve your purpose. There may be aspects of your life that you have held onto tightly, believing they define you, but God is calling you to surrender them so that he can replace them with something better. This can be one of the most difficult parts of the transition, letting go of what you've known, even if it no longer serves you. But understand this, God will never ask you to release something unless He has something better in mind to replace it. In the process of change, you may face fear, doubt, or uncertainty. You might wonder if you are capable of handling what is ahead, or if the new season will bring more challenges than blessings. But remember, change doesn't mean that you are left alone to navigate the unknown. God's presence goes with you. He promises that He will never leave you nor forsake you, and in every change He will equip you with the strength and wisdom you need. The transition might feel difficult, but it is the very thing that is preparing you for the greater work that lies ahead. Change can also be a sign of promotion. Just like a student must move to the next grade to receive a new level of learning and responsibility, God's new season in your life may require you to step into greater opportunities. You may have been in a season of preparation, but now it's time for you to walk in the fullness of what you have been trained for. The change is not only necessary for growth, but also for elevation. God is moving you into positions where you can have a greater impact, where you can serve with more influence, and where you can experience His blessings on a larger scale. What God is doing in your life is bigger than what you can see right now. His plans are far-reaching, and the changes He is bringing will set you up to accomplish things you never dreamed possible. It may feel overwhelming, but know that He is in control and He is preparing you for the abundant future that awaits. Each change is a step closer to the life He has destined for you. Embrace it, trust Him, and be open to the transformation that will take place in you and through you. The new season will require you to grow, to stretch, and to step out in faith, but as you do, you will discover the joy of becoming all that God created you to be. As you step into the new season that God has prepared for you, it is crucial to surround yourself with the right people. The company you keep plays a significant role in the direction your life takes. God will often place certain people in your life to help you navigate the new season and fulfill your purpose. But equally, He may call you to distance yourself from relationships that are no longer healthy or aligned with His plan for you. The people you choose to surround yourself with can either help you elevate to new heights or pull you down. In this new season, discernment is key. Not every person in your life will be able to go with you into the next chapter. Some people are meant to stay in your past because they cannot support your growth. Others are simply not meant to walk in the new level of blessing and responsibility God is leading you toward. God is calling you to be wise about who you allow to speak into your life and who you choose to walk beside you. It's not about cutting people off out of bitterness or unforgiveness, but about recognizing that some relationships have fulfilled their purpose and others are meant to guide you into your destiny. There is power in aligning yourself with individuals who are also walking in faith, who are pursuing their own purpose, and who will encourage you to do the same. These people will push you, hold you accountable, and challenge you to grow. They will celebrate your victories and comfort you in your struggles. Just as iron sharpens iron, so will the right people sharpen your mind, spirit, and character. When God is leading you into something new, you need people around you who will not just cheer you on, but who will speak life into your dreams, help you navigate challenges, and provide wisdom when you feel lost. At the same time, as God shifts your season, He may reveal toxic relationships or negative influences in your life that are hindering your progress. These may be relationships rooted in past hurts, jealousy, insecurity, or manipulation. While it is difficult to confront these relationships, it is necessary to let go of people who are not adding value to your journey. This does not mean that you stop loving them, but it does mean that you no longer allow their negativity, doubt, or fear to affect your focus. If someone's presence consistently holds you back from pursuing God's purpose for your life, it is time to reevaluate the role they play in your life. Sometimes the people around us can influence our thinking and limit our belief in what is possible. God's new season for you often involves thinking bigger, dreaming higher, and having the courage to take risks. If you are surrounded by people who are always playing it safe, who don't believe in your vision, or who are too comfortable with the status quo, it can be difficult to embrace the boldness that God requires for the next season. You need people who can envision the future with you, who can see what God is doing in you even when others can't. You need people who will encourage you to step out of your comfort zone and walk by faith, even when it seems impossible. The Bible speaks of a time when David was about to face Goliath. He was surrounded by a group of men who were afraid, doubting that they could defeat the giant. But David, who believed in God's power, was not deterred by the fear of others. He knew that his God was bigger than any giant, and he stepped forward with the confidence that God would fight for him. In the same way, you need to surround yourself with people who will not let you settle for less than what God has promised. You need people who believe in the greatness that God has placed inside of you and who are willing to help you fight the giants that stand in your way. Additionally, be open to meeting new people. God may bring new relationships into your life during this season, people who will not only encourage you, but will also open doors for you that you never imagined possible. These divine connections are part of God's plan to elevate you to the next level. Don't be afraid to build relationships with those who may seem different or unfamiliar. Often, it is these relationships that bring fresh perspectives, new opportunities, and a greater understanding of the path that God is leading you on. The people you surround yourself with have a powerful influence on your growth. As God leads you into a new season, ensure that you are walking with those who will push you toward your destiny, who will encourage you to stay aligned with His will, and who will help you rise to the person He has called you to be. Keep your heart open to new relationships that align with your purpose, and be willing to let go of those that hinder your growth. Your new season will be shaped not only by your faith and obedience, but by the people you allow to walk alongside you in the journey. As you embrace the new season that God is preparing for you, it's essential to understand that it requires you to walk in faith and obedience. Faith is the foundation that everything else is built upon. When God calls you into a new season, He is often calling you to trust Him in ways you never have before. It's not always going to be easy. There will be times when everything looks uncertain, when the path ahead is unclear, and when you are faced with challenges that seem too great to overcome. But in those moments, faith is what will carry you through. Faith allows you to step into the unknown with the assurance that God is already there, making a way where there seems to be no way. Faith is not just about believing in what you can see with your eyes or understand with your mind. It's about trusting in God's character, knowing that He is faithful to His promises. In this new season, God may ask you to take steps that seem illogical or impossible in the natural world. He may call you to move to a new place, take a new job, or let go of something important to you. It might not make sense in the moment, but this is where faith comes in. You have to trust that God sees the bigger picture, that He knows what is best for you, and that He is leading you to a place of greater purpose and fulfillment. God never calls us to something that He does not equip us for. In fact, the challenges you will face in this new season are opportunities for you to grow stronger in your faith. Every obstacle, every trial is designed to build your character, your resilience, and your trust in God. These challenges are not meant to break you, but to prepare you for the next level of blessing and influence that God has in store for you. God will never lead you into a new season without providing the strength, wisdom, and resources you need to succeed. But the key is that you have to walk in obedience to His guidance. It's not enough to just believe in God. You must also obey His instructions, even when they are difficult or uncomfortable. Obedience is the key that unlocks the doors of your new season. When you follow God's instructions, even when they don't make sense, you position yourself to receive His best. God's instructions are always leading you towards something greater, even if the journey looks different from what you expected. There will be moments when you feel like you're walking in the dark, but obedience to God's word is like a light that guides your steps. His word will never fail, and it will always lead you to where He wants you to be. There may also be moments when your faith is tested. The enemy will try to shake your confidence, sow doubt in your mind, and make you second guess whether God is really leading you into this new season. He will try to make you question your abilities, your calling, and even the promises of God. But in those moments, remember that faith is not about having all the answers. It's about trusting in the one who holds the answers. Faith is the assurance that even when things are uncertain, God is still in control, and His plan for your life is perfect. Trusting God in this new season also means letting go of the need to control everything. Many of us are tempted to hold on tightly to the reins of our lives, trying to dictate every detail and plan every outcome. But when God calls you to a new season, He is often asking you to surrender that control and let Him take the lead. This is where true faith comes in, trusting that God's timing is perfect and that He knows what is best for you, even when you don't fully understand it. Letting go of control means accepting that God's plan may not unfold in the way you expect, but it will always be better than anything you could have planned on your own. God's faithfulness is unwavering. No matter what the new season looks like or how uncertain the road ahead may seem, God is with you every step of the way. He is faithful to complete the work He has started in you. Your faith and obedience are the keys that unlock His purpose for your life, and they will lead you into a season of breakthroughs, blessings, and divine opportunities. Keep walking by faith, trusting that God is always at work behind the scenes, and remember that with every step you take in obedience, you are moving closer to the new life, new opportunities, and new destiny He has in store for you. As we come to the close of this message, remember this: God is about to lead you into a new season of your life, one filled with purpose, growth, and divine opportunities. This season may require you to step out in faith, let go of past limitations, embrace new challenges, and walk with the right people. It will demand your obedience, even when the path ahead seems unclear. But take heart, for God's plans for you are greater than anything you could imagine. Trust Him, lean on His promises, and know that with each step you take, you are moving closer to the destiny He has prepared for you. This new season will not come without obstacles, but be assured that every challenge is an opportunity for growth. Every moment of doubt is an invitation to trust God more deeply, and every closed door is simply a sign that God is preparing something better. Do not fear the unknown, for God is already in your future, making a way where there seems to be no way. Step boldly into the new season God has for you, knowing that He is with you, empowering you, and guiding you every step of the way. Your best days are ahead, and the journey to your destiny begins with your trust in Him and your willingness to obey His voice. Embrace this new season with faith, courage, and expectation, for God is about to do something incredible in and through you. Keep moving forward and watch as He unfolds His amazing plan for your life.